listening to Grounded.
Grounded? What's that? I'm grounded in Jesus.
I'm grounded in
Jesus at LLA.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Grounded Stories, a storytelling podcast created for our SECC education community. We hope that Grounded Stories will be a resource to provide a little fun and laughter, and of course, encouragement to stay grounded in Jesus in the ever-changing world that we live in. We're here because we believe that spiritual connection doesn't have to stop while we're all quarantined in our houses. In fact, it just means that we have to be a little more creative about how we connect with each other. Last week, we learned about how important it is to show gratitude to people in our lives as we celebrated Teachers and Nurses Appreciation Weeks and Mother's Day. This week, we're going to be thinking more about patience through difficult waiting periods of our lives. There are many times when we have to wait for things to happen. We might be waiting for a sibling to share a toy, waiting for our birthday to come, or waiting for COVID quarantine to end so that we can go back to school, stores, and parks. Having patience and grit through waiting periods can be really challenging. Listen in as Linz and Clay learn more about how to have patience through these times.
Alexa, read my notifications.
Your package containing ultrafine sand has been delayed.
Not this again. This is the third time this has been delayed.
Really? Doesn't Amazon promise to deliver items in 2 days? Isn't that why we pay money every year to have Amazon Prime?
I know, right? It's crazy how everything seems to be delayed nowadays. They only send essential items with 2-day guaranteed delivery. What does essential even mean?
I think it means things that are really important to have, like baby diapers, cleaning supplies, toiletry items, groceries, or pet supplies.
How dare they judge my purchase? My ultrafine sand is very essential for my latest project.
What exactly are you going to be doing with the ultrafine sand?
It's for my electronic customizable variable hourglass of time.
Your what?
Clay. You know how we have to set timers for all sorts of things, right? Like 3 minutes for our tea to steep, 8 minutes for our pasta to boil, 12 minutes for our cookies to bake.
You're making cookies? It smells like they might be a little overdone.
No need to soften your words, Clay. They were burnt to a crisp. That's because our current kitchen timer is so old that it's no longer even working. I guess you won't get to try my new Snickerpoodle recipe.
Don't you mean Snickerdoodle?
No, I call them Snickerpoodles because they're just like Snickerdoodles, but way fluffier. So back to my story. This is why I have the essential need for ultrafine sand. I made one of those hourglass timer thingies.
You mean those ones that are shaped kind of like the number 8 with 2 different parts? The top part has sand in it and then it slowly drops through the little space between the top and bottom half until all of the sand has reached the bottom?
Wow! You're really good at explaining things. Did you just look that up in the dictionary?
Well, I guess that's what happens when I read instruction manuals for my leisure reading.
Interesting. To each his own. Well, that's what normal hourglass timers are like. But the one I'm making is an electronic, customizable, variable version of that outdated one that was created in the 8th century. Take a look at this baby.
Wowzers! That looks amazing! But how does it work?
I thought you'd never ask. This remote can control how wide the neck of the hourglass is. When I press this button, the neck will expand and get wider or contract and get smaller and allow sand to go through either faster or slower depending on the amount of time I set it for. I can program it to be 30 seconds, 30 minutes, or 30 hours, or anything in between.
But isn't it kind of hard to know when it's done? It doesn't beep or anything like normal timers nowadays.
That's why I programmed the sand to spin this electromagnetic turbine that generates electricity to run this music player. And the best part about it is depending on how fast the sand turns the turbine, the music will play either slower or faster. Let me show you how it works. This will be, let me set it here, this is for a 30-second timer. And this is what it sounds like if I set it for 24 and let's say 24 and a half minutes.
Wow, that seems like a lot of work that you've put into it. It's actually really impressive. But you know that we could just ask Alexa to set a timer for us or use our smartphones.
Clay. Not everything in life is about being practical. This is a one-of-a-kind 8th century look-alike, but with all the modern innovation of 2020.
Well, I hope that your ultra-fine sand arrives sooner than my hair clippers. I ordered them over a month ago, and they still haven't given me an estimated delivery date. They were actually out of stock.
Out of stock? Who even wants to buy hair clippers?
Apparently everyone right now. Since hair salons and barbershops are shut down, anyone who likes to be well-groomed needs to have one of these to keep their locks looking great.
Clay, I highly doubt your 2 inches of hair could be considered locks. But I guess I get what you mean.
Hair clippers are just one of the many items that are out of stock during this COVID quarantine.
Really? What else is out of stock?
Well, there are common ones like toilet paper and hand sanitizer, masks and gloves. But there are also items you might not think about, like mouse pads, thermometers, and board games.
I guess people stuck at home need different items than they usually do when they're going to work.
Yup, it's so hard to wait for these products to get back on the Amazon shelves. My hair is the longest it's been since I can ever remember.
2.5 inches?
Linz, that's 25% longer than it usually is.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go stir crazy if I don't get this sand in my hand soon.
I feel you. Waiting can be so tough sometimes.
I hate waiting. And, well, I guess the sand is actually the least of my concerns, really. The harder part is waiting for this whole COVID quarantine to end and not knowing when things are going to go back to normal. It's already been more than 2 months, and we still don't know how long it will take for all this to end. Waiting is especially hard when you don't know how long you have to wait for. When I was a kid, I used to have such a hard time waiting for summer vacation all throughout the whole school year.
I can't wait for summer vacation to start. I have so much projects I didn't do from last summer, but I can't do them with so much homework. What am I going to do?
Linz, can I help you with something?
Yes. How many days are there before summer vacation?
Considering this is the first day of school, I think there are 180 days left.
What?
Linz, can you please read this word for me?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, at summer vacation?
No, silly. That actually says SAT. But I guess I know what's on your mind right now. It's only day 2. Might as well get settled in. We have a fun year ahead of us. The answer to a math problem is called the sum.
You mean like some summer vacation? How many more days left?
Considering it's day 3, that means we have 178 days left.
No!
The longest year of my life.
That's funny. I had the exact opposite problem as a child.
58, 59, and finally 60. That took forever.
Clay, why do you look so tired? It's summer vacation. It's time to play and have fun. You made it through another school year.
But Mom, I just finished my days till school starts paper chain. I'm gonna rip one of these off each day of summer.
Would you like to go for a swim today?
I would, but that's gonna interfere with my daily summer schedule.
Summer schedule? Did your teacher give you homework for this summer?
No, I asked her to, but she said I should just have fun. I told her that's exactly why I needed summer homework. She just laughed and gave me a hug. That's why I had to create a summer schedule for myself. 30 minutes of math facts practice, 30 minutes of AR reading, science experiments, and reading the history of the world. I've heard it's That's quite the page turner. I can't wait for school to start again. But at least this way I won't be bored and I'll be ready for school to start.
It seems like you may need to relax a little. Why don't you watch this new show I discovered called Moving Art? It's so calming and it helps to pass the time.
And that was the moment that my life changed forever.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that all summer long you made your own school schedule each day to help pass the time before school started again?
Yep. Having a school schedule at home was the only way I could pass time without going crazy that summer. Well, that and watching moving art.
This is all starting to make sense now.
Well, I guess we both struggle with waiting. At least nowadays we have computers and phones and the internet so that we have more to do to help us pass the time. I wonder what people did back when there wasn't any technology.
That's so true. We have a million things to distract us. Let's see what Alexa says people used to do before the internet existed. Alexa, what did people do without you?
Before I was around, people used to actually go outside to check the weather.
That's good. Go outside and check the weather. Hey Alexa, what's the craziest weather that you've ever experienced?
I was not around when this happened, but I think the worst weather recorded in Earth's history was the worldwide flood that Noah was a part of in the Bible.
Whoa, that's right. I'd forgotten about that worldwide flood. I wonder what Noah did inside of the ark during all that waiting time. Hey Alexa, what did Noah do while he was on the ark?
Sorry, I don't know that. But I do have an app you might like. It's called the Interactive Stories of the Bible app. Would you like to try it?
Sure. Alexa, open that app and tell me about Noah.
Opening the Interactive Stories of the Bible app.
Long ago, on the earth, there was a time when things were pretty bad. The earth was filled with really mean people. God saw that every thought in their mind was evil all the time. It was chaos. People were hurting others, stealing, and had even stopped believing in the God who created them and the world. God was very sad and decided to clean the earth of all this evil. Out of all the humans living at that time, there was one man who still believed in God. Hey, Noah, that's your cue!
Oh, sorry. Hey everyone.
Noah did what was right and was a man of integrity and was loyal friend of God.
God and I are pretty tight. We hang out all the time.
So, when God had this plan to clean up the evil in the world, he decided to invite Noah to partner with him on a rescue mission. They called it Mission Indestructible.
God told me that he was going to send a flood that would cover the entire earth, but that he wanted me to build a huge, indestructible boat or ark that would be the home of pairs of all the animals of the earth and my family. He gave me specific blueprints for how I should build the ark so it would be just the right size. And that was it.
Noah didn't know when the flood would start or how long it would take him to finish the ark, but because he was God's friend, he trusted God.
What? You mean he just had to trust and obey God, and he didn't even know how long he would have before the flood started?
Talk about a waiting time. I can't imagine building a boat that big without an entire construction crew plus Home Depot.
Noah didn't just sit around waiting. He got busy during the waiting period and followed God's instructions to a T. He chopped down the cypress trees.
Timber!
He split the wood, he made the nails, probably built gigantic scaffolding, and had to cover the whole entire ark inside and out with pitch. And don't forget, he did this all when he was over 500 years old.
Age is just a number, but I work out.
When Noah was 600 years old, God said it was time. God said to go onto the ark with pairs of all the living creatures, and once again, Noah followed all of God's instructions.
It was crazy. Throughout the week before the flood, it was literally a parade of animal pairs walking into the ark. Day after day, we were putting them into different stalls, organizing their food, making sure that we kept certain animals away from other animals, if you know what I mean. It was amazing to see all these animals obeying God's command, and sad that none of the other humans believed.
The door of the ark was shut and the flood began. God had warned Noah that the flood would last for 40 days and 40 nights.
I was scratching tally marks in on the walls to count down the days.
But what Noah might not have known is how long he'd have to wait in the ark after the rain stopped. But the Bible tells us that in total, he and his family and all the animals were on the ark for close to a year.
A year? That is such a long time. We've only been on quarantine for 61 days and it feels like it's been an eternity.
Yeah, and we aren't even stuck with a boatload of animals. We can take a walk outside if we wanted to.
Can you imagine the pressure Noah had to keep all those animals alive and well? I mean, talk about endangered species. Every single one of them was an endangered species.
I wonder how he passed the time with his family on the ark for almost a year.
Well, if you think about 8 humans trying to take care of at least a pair of every animal, that probably kept them pretty busy, I'd think.
Oh, hello there, Mr. and Mrs. Monkey. I see you're practicing your vowel sounds again. Wait, what? Really? They've been stealing your banana chips? Well, we'll have to take care of that right away. You're welcome. And hello, Mr. and Mrs. Cow. You sound like you're in a good mood. Enjoy your haystacks.
Needless to say, Noah and his family were really busy on that ark. Nearly a year is a long time to be stuck on a boat. While Noah trusted God and obeyed all that time, it goes without saying that he was thrilled when the dove he sent out didn't come back because it had found a place to nest. The long wait was over, and God said it was time for everyone
and every animal
to get up and finally walk back onto dry land. There must have been great rejoicing of all kinds as every living being sprinted out of that ark.
But no one was as thankful as me.
Noah built an altar to the Lord to thank God for his faithfulness and protection and for this chance to start a life again.
That concludes this story from the Interactive Stories of the Bible app. Would you like me to play another one?
No thanks. That was enough to chew on for now.
Smell you later, alligator.
Wow, that's amazing that everyone in the world can trace their family tree back to Noah and his family. I don't even know why we sing the Father Abraham song all the time. We really should be singing Father Noah.
He really is a great father for us to look up to, and especially during these times, I think we can learn a lot from him.
I guess we don't really have that much to complain about when we think about how long he was stuck on the ark.
But we can learn from what he did during the long waiting periods in his story.
Really? How so?
Well, he had to wait for quite a while between when God told him about the flood and when the flood actually started. And he had to wait for a long time in the ark after the rain actually stopped before it was safe to go back outside onto dry ground. Do you notice what he did for both of those times?
What do you mean, like talk to the animals?
No. Well, maybe that too. But both times, he found purpose in what God wanted him to do and trusted and obeyed all of God's instructions.
I guess you're right. But it must have been really hard to keep waiting and trusting and obeying all that time.
It kind of reminds me of a Bible verse found in Isaiah 40:31. Alexa, can you read Isaiah 40:31?
Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint."
I guess that's one secret to getting strength while we have to wait. Remembering that we're not just waiting on some future day when the government will open up everything again. Instead, we can focus on waiting and trusting God each day and asking Him what He would like us to do that day.
Yeah. For Noah, that meant building an ark and caring for all of those endangered species.
Yeah, and for us, I guess it means,
I guess it might mean something different each day for each of us. The important thing is to ask God for His direction and to be faithful to do as He asks each day. I guess that's one way to find purpose in this time of waiting.
So I'm still over here waiting for my ultrafine sand to arrive, but I guess it doesn't help to sit here and ask Alexa for a new notification every 5 minutes.
You are correct.
I guess I should be asking God about what His purpose is for me each day.
Hey, maybe you could ask God about those snickerpoodles you were making. Just saying.
Well, I do like making cookies. Maybe we could make an extra batch to share with some of our neighbors.
And you know, if they don't accept food from others right now, I think I know someone whose name starts with a C and rhymes with hay that would love to eat them. By the way, how do you make those snickerpoodles so fluffy?
There's only one way to find out. To the kitchen, Clay. And this time, let's use your phone timer.
Friends, are you struggling with waiting? Now that we've been on stay-at-home orders for more than 2 months, it may be more difficult to find the patience and grit to keep going through these tough times. As Isaiah 40:31 says, we need to wait and trust in God who will renew our strength each day. And just like Noah, we can't sit still and do nothing. That makes waiting impossibly difficult. We need to ask God what He would like us to do and be faithful in working for Him to pass our time until the waiting is over. Ready to take the challenge to patiently work for God through the rest of this time of quarantine? Give it a try, and if you'd like to share what you did, feel free to record a brief 10 to 15 second recording with your name, grade level, and how you're working for God during your days at home. As usual, you can send your recordings to ckoh@lla.org. This episode featured the voices of yours truly, Clayton Co., and my lovely wife, Lindsay. We also thank our friend Chris Pope, who did the voice of Noah, 5th grader Rebecca O, who was our Bible story narrator, kindergartner Ella Schrader and her mom Lacey Schrader, who did the voices of Little Linz and her teacher, and kindergartner Luca Savino and his mom Mildred Gallego Savino, who acted as Little Clay and his mom. You're all amazingly talented and willing to serve. Grounded Stories is produced for the Southeastern California Conference of Seventh-day Adventist Office of Education. We hope that these stories will help to keep us all grounded as we live by faith in Jesus.